this desk. When you manage a single rental property, you can usually get away with a few spreadsheets, a stack of paper receipts, and text to your tenants. But as you add a second or third unit, that informal system collapses into missing paperwork and constant notifications. Kemanage is a standalone cloud platform designed to replace that manual chaos. It centralizes your rent collection, maintenance, and lease tracking into a single digital dashboard. But before you attempt a migration, you need to understand Kemanage's hard qualifying filter. This system is built strictly and exclusively for income-producing assets that are already finished and ready for tenants. This checklist shows the exact dividing line. If your property is ready to rent, you get the green light. If your property is still in the active construction or development phase, you need an entirely different system, Kemeter Build and Manage. Successfully adopting property management software requires matching the tool's strict boundaries to the real-world operational status of your building. Migrating to Kemanage requires a specific trade-off. You are exchanging intense initial setup friction for long-term operational automation. That setup friction means manually inputting all your existing data, like lease dates, your deposit amounts, and vendor contacts, and then convincing your tenants and contractors to actually log in to a new digital ecosystem. The payoff for that labor is a single login dashboard where rent is collected, maintenance is tracked, and lease renewals are automated without your constant intervention. To determine if that migration effort is worth the cost, we are going to map Kemanage's specific features and hard paywalls directly to exact portfolio sizes. Because avoiding the temporary pain of setting up a software system usually just defers the permanent administrative collapse of a growing real estate business. The core of Kemanage is the triple panel system. It divides platform access between owners, tenants, and maintainers. In this web, the owner sits at the central hub with total portfolio oversight. The tenant node feeds directly into that hub to pay rent and submit requests. On the side, vendors get assigned repair tickets and update job statuses in real time. The risk here is compliance. This entire ecosystem breaks down if you cannot force technologically resistant tenants or old-school contractors to actually use the portals. But when enforced, the triple panel system transforms unpredictable, fragmented human communication into a highly auditable professional data trail. That data trail feeds directly into the second major feature set, financial automation and reporting. For the reporting to work, you must enter lease dates, security deposit amounts, and sync your banking tools. Once those inputs are logged, the system automatically generates rent reminders and systematically tracks late payments. Zooming out, the platform aggregates those individual inputs to automatically generate real-time profit and loss statements for your overall portfolio. This creates a strict data hygiene trade-off. Automated invoice systems will create disastrous consequences if your initial data entry is sloppy or incorrect. Financial automation cannot fix disorganized business practices. It is a rigid framework that heavily rewards exactness. As your portfolio grows, Kemanage forces tier upgrades based directly on your capacity needs. The free basic tier hard caps your account at exactly one property. Acquiring a second property triggers the standard tier at $14.99 a month, expanding capacity to 5 properties. Pushing past 5 properties triggers the silver tier, accommodating up to 15 properties. The basic tier allows you to future-proof a single unit in a risk-free environment. But the reality of the paywalls is that acquiring a second property locks you into a permanent monthly SaaS fee. This specific pricing model taxes operational complexity. You are forced to pay more only when your administrative burden increases. Kemanage essentially partners with your growth. It offers free tools to start, but extracts a predictable toll once your portfolio scales. Let's map specific user profiles directly to the appropriate Kemanage tier. Looking at this flowchart, if you are a starter landlord with exactly 1 unit, adopting the basic tier is a definitive yes. If you are a scaling investor with 3 to 15 units, upgrading to the standard or silver tier is a strong yes. You are accepting a $15 to $20 monthly fee because it acts as a cheap replacement for hiring a part-time administrative assistant. For both segments, time recovered and late fees captured vastly outweigh initial friction or monthly costs. Finally, if you're a professional property manager handling assets for third-party clients, this recommendation is a conditional yes. The primary benefit for your agency is unlocking the owner portal, which grants total financial transparency directly to your clients. The condition is a specific risk. Migrating to Kemanage means permanently tying your agency's client reporting to the Kemanage ecosystem's aesthetic and structure. And regardless of your profile, the foundational prerequisite remains absolute. None of these tiers apply if the asset isn't fully constructed and ready to rent. Migrating to a structured system like Kemanage secures the operational capacity required to scale a real estate empire without succumbing to administrative chaos.